Hello, genealogists. This is Craig, and this is Just Genealogy. And today I would like to talk about the land. And probably the land is one of the most important things that you can learn about when it comes to genealogical research. I once heard Helen Leary tell me, and a whole bunch of other people at the same time, that every problem in genealogy can be solved by the land. I don't believe that every problem, but she sure believed that a whole bunch of problems could be solved by understanding land records. And the kinds of things that you have to understand about land records is where to locate them. Now, they come in a variety of flavors. They could be federal domain, they could be out in the public domain, they can be in land states, like in the colonial states, those kind of things. They can be in land office records, whether they be the colonial land office records or the general land office, BLM. But have to know where to find them. And I enjoy using published land records as finding aids to the actual land records, because generally a good published land record, regardless of how it's abstracted, will give me the page. Will give me the book and page, and that's what I want to go for. I want to go find that original record based on what I find in the books, and the books just make it so much easier, because sitting down and doing a line by line in land records is less fun than doing a line by line in census records, which is more fun than doing a line by line in passenger lists, the places we do line by line research. You also have to understand the various types of land records. You need to know what you should record out of a land record when you see it, and then interpret what you find in that land record, because it will lead you to other things, such as it being sold, or it being sold before, all important pieces. You need to understand how to use maps, atlases, and gazetteers to understand placing that land on the ground. I especially like using maps from Geodetic Survey, but that's just me. You have to understand how to plot meets and bounds if you're in the East, and you also have to understand the public land survey system if you're in the West, and those are generalizations. And you always want to know how these records will lead you to other records. Now, I'm not going to go in today about the various books that exist about the public land system. I have 5 or 6 in my library. They're not here in the warehouse, so I don't want to talk about those today. But at some point in the future, when we get past the basics of land records, then that would be a good idea to go into that, and the public land system, and also the concept of military bounty land and how veterans acquired land also. Now, there are just a couple of books that I think are necessary to land research and understanding land research. There is an older book called Locating Your Roots that was published by Bedaway Press by Patricia Lobb Hatcher. And this book went out of print. You may have this book. She later on published a book with Genealogical Publishing Company, which we have at Heritage Books, called Locating Your Roots, Discovering Your Ancestor Using Land Records. My assessment of these two books is that they are the same, except this book might have some updates in it in regards to URLs and those kind of things. So if you already have this book, it's likely, in general terms, you don't need to own this book also. But if you don't own either of these books, you should own this one. Now, there is another book out there, and the reason I've waited until today to talk about land records when I could have talked about them months ago is because I didn't have the book. I don't do very much public domain research. The public land survey system is something I'm familiar with because I have a few ancestors who acquired land in places almost to the Mississippi River. So I haven't really needed this book except on occasion, so I never actually bought it. But I have now gone out and bought it, and that is Land and Property Research in the United States by E. Wade Hone. And what I like especially about this book is the maps that deal with the various land offices and the counties and the tract book guides. So if you're in the public domain, for example, I have people in Indiana in the Jeffersonville office, and this tells me, which counties are covered by the Jeffersonville office, not to be confused by the Indiana counties who are covered by the Cincinnati, Ohio office. So this is important for dealing with these issues, because you need to know what land office, and you need to know what meridian, and there's all kinds of pieces that you have to understand in dealing with the public land survey system. And this is by far, Land and Property Research in the United States, the best book for dealing with that. Now, I will add that if you're dealing with military bounty land, there is the other book, which I've talked about before, which is, I don't know where it is, Christine Rose's book on military bounty land, but that's really not my focus today. Regular land records are. You should become very familiar, especially if you're dealing in the West, with the Bureau of Land Management website. It's one of those places that you should always plug a name into to see what pops up, even if you end up with an assignment instead of somebody actually getting the land. So, 2 books most important, especially for the public domain survey system, Land and Property Research in the United States by E. Wade Hone, and Locating Your Roots Using Land Records by Patricia Law Hatcher. I recommend those 2. And remember, if you already have her Locating Your Roots, you probably don't need the GPC version. So this has been Craig. This has been Just Genealogy. We haven't talked about in and out tables in a while because only one person sent me one, and it was just the one, and I need more than one. I need samples of in and out tables so that we can talk about what an in and out table should look like. Otherwise, I'm just going to have to show you what my in and out table looks like, and that's not as much fun as looking at yours also. So do me a favor, if you've got an in and out table for land research, I personally don't believe you can do land research without an in and out table. But that's just me. So this is Craig, this is Just Genealogy, and another day on the road. Should probably be back tomorrow, and we'll see if we can get started on the genealogical proof standard real soon. Thank you so much. Please subscribe, please tell your friends, please click the bell for notifications. I don't know what else to say. I'm tired. Have a great day.